If you want to get into the best shape of your entire life in the next 3 months, be able to walk around with your top off without a care in the world, then this is the exact blueprint that I used to lose 14 kilos in 14 weeks. I know what it's like going on holiday, pulling your top down, not liking the way you look. Every single time you walk past the mirror, you have to dodge it so you don't look at yourself and what you actually look like. I have been there, and I'm sure you've tried so many times and you've been frustrated with the lack of results, lack of consistency, and just not being able to get there. You might have got close, but never the full way there. And this is where this blueprint really comes in, because I'm gonna deep dive exactly what I did to go from this 90 kilos, then 14 weeks later to this at 77 kilos. They're probably thinking, Jack, you've always been in shape. What are you on about? You've never been where I am. Trust me, I've been exactly where you are. I have made all the mistakes, and the reason why I'm making this video is so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. I slashed my calories way too low, starting off at around 1500, losing about 12 kilos in 8 weeks, but I was unable to sustain it. I didn't actually look the way I wanted to do. And the only way I could do it is dropping the calories even further, which is something that I didn't want to do. Even getting to the point where I nearly had an eating disorder. I never got into the shape that I actually wanted to get into, despite putting all the effort in. And I guarantee you're in the exact same position. You're putting in all the effort in the gym, doing all the training, doing all the cardio, doing all the steps. You might be nearly there with your diet, but you just can't seem to get there. So I'm gonna break it down into 4 simple steps, and you can take this as a step-by-step guide and implement this into your life as well. So the first one is one of the most important ones for me, and that is gonna be your calories and your diet. So I'm sure you've heard the word calorie deficit.
You're joking. Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
Thrown around in the fitness industry. It's the most biggest buzzword ever. I'm not gonna argue with thermodynamics. And the first thing that I had to do was set my calories. So when I started at 90 kilos, I was eating around 4,100 calories per day.
Let's not take the piss here.
I certainly wasn't.
Well, I think you are.
I know, absolutely mental. What I did was I didn't go right straight from 4,000 down to 2,000. I started slowly decreasing the amount of calories. I started by knocking off 300 calories off my target. So I went from 4,100 to 3,800. If I wasn't losing 0.8 to 1 kilo per week, then I would make a change either with my diet or with my steps and my cardio. And every single time that I wanted to speed things up a little bit, I'd knock off 100 to 200 calories off that number. Notice how a lot of people will go straight from 4,000 down to, like, say 2,500.
You're a donut! You're so stupid! You're so stupid! You're stupid!
And yes, they'll lose weight very, very quickly. As I'm gonna get onto later on in the video, that's gonna disrupt something else that you don't want to happen when you're in this deficit. And this also meant I had to get very smart with the calories that I was eating. Because at 4,100 calories, you could eat whatever you want in that and be fine. You're not gonna be hungry. But when the calories start to get bring down, you need to start making changes and making smart changes with your food, looking into the quality of the food that you're eating. This is 100 calories worth of chocolate, and this is 100 calories worth of banana. Now, when you're in a deficit and you get towards the end of your deficit and you're eating less calories, surely you want to be able to eat more food. So which one's going to be the smart choice? Having the chocolate, even though the chocolate would be nice, or having these 2 bananas for the same amount of calories? You're picking the bananas 100%, and that's what you've got to be. You've got to be smart with your calories and making choices, especially with small food swaps. It could be something simple as maybe you're having on your bulk, you're having a chicken thigh, or you're having, say, 20% beef mince. It's so simple to go from, right, chicken thigh to chicken breast, lowers the calories, highs the protein. Same with the beef mince, go from 20% down to 5%. You get more volume worth of food for the calories that you're eating. And that's the most important thing when you're getting into the deficit. It's not just eating more calories and focusing on just calories, it's focusing on nutrition, and it's focusing on kind of the nutrients you're getting from the food and how much volume of food that you're getting in as well. And this is where one thing that really comes to the floor, and that is going to be what kind of things you can start really adding in to really help with the calories and the diet inside of things. 1, increase your fiber. Getting the likes of your fruit and veg in is going to be absolutely massive. Obviously, fiber not digested by the body. Your gut microbiome and your bacteria feed off fiber. And this also slows down your digestion. So that keeps the food in your stomach for a lot longer, which keeps you then fuller for longer, which is absolutely game changing when you're in a diet. Another thing, and one thing is I think everyone talks about nowadays, it's another buzzword in the fitness industry, is increasing your protein target. I'd say protein is more important when you're in a diet than it is when you're actually building muscle.
What did he say?
Because when you're in a diet, let's be real, you want to keep hold of the muscle that you've built. And doing that, you need to have the protein in there. And also, it is the most satiating macronutrient. If you were to eat 500 grams of Greek yogurt, that's 300 calories, just under. You are not eating that and then come back to me going, right, what's next? You're going, I'm completely full. But if you ate 3 of these chocolate bars, you're gonna want more as well off the back of that. Same amount of calories, but the protein's gonna keep you fuller as your body actually burns more calories just digesting that protein to actually be used in the muscles. One thing that you really need to take into account when it comes to your calories and your diet is when you are actually eating your meals. I would opt to eat my meals at the same time every single day. Your body likes the routine, and I will get hungry at certain parts during the day, and usually at the same times during the day. You'll notice how certain times of the day, you'll just naturally get hungry because your body knows that's when you usually have their meals. And what I would do is, one of the most important things you can do is prioritize your carbs around training. That means your pre and post workout meals are full of carbs. That's where you get your most of carbs throughout the day, and then you can fill out the carbs in the rest for the rest of the day. But them 2 are the most important ones, as they're going to give you fuel to actually perform in your gym sessions, and they're going to be very, very important, especially as you get less and less calories throughout your diet. Being able to utilize them carbs and make sure you're hitting your numbers in the gym is very, very important for maintaining the muscle, which I'm going to go into a little bit more detail later on. And like I've mentioned so many times before, it is the quality of the food that really, really matters. Let's just say you buy a brand new car, a brand new BMW, it's your dream car. Would you fill it full of shit fuel? No, you wouldn't. So why are you doing the exact same with your body? Why are you putting shit food into your body and expecting it to perform like a supercar? It's the exact same principles. And now we're moving on to training. One thing that I think a lot of people will be looking into, like, oh, what sort of changes have you made from going from a bulk, from going to a cut? What sort of things have you done to change? Honestly, my training stayed the exact same throughout this whole 14 weeks. And that is very, very important to kind of delve into. A lot of people, and there's a massive myth going on in the fitness industry, and it has been for a while. I don't know if it's been kind of debunked, but I still hear people saying it, is when they're trying to gain muscle, they're doing low rep, high weight. And then when they go into a diet, they go high rep and low weight to tone the muscles and kind of burn more calories. Not true. If you think about it logically and you actually take logical steps into this and look at it and go, so you've built the muscle doing that way, so surely if you want to keep the muscle, or even if you're in your first couple of years lifting, continue to build a little bit of muscle when you're bringing down the calories, and being in a deficit can be kind of hard to do. Wouldn't try and shoot for both, but it can be done. Surely you would just do the exact same thing. Train the exact same way. If you prefer doing lower reps, if you prefer doing higher reps, it's completely up to you, but keep the training the exact same. The only thing that I did do towards the end, when the calories did get quite low, is I would reduce the volume just a slight little bit. Instead of doing 3 sets on a certain exercise, I might have dropped it to 2 instead. So I was able to put more energy into them 2 sets instead of wasting maybe another 3rd set of being like kind of junk volume and creating even more fatigue when it just wasn't needed. But when it does come to training, this is the most important thing when it comes to training. I think a lot of people get confused when they go into a diet, when they go into a deficit, that they are naturally just going to lose strength. That only happens if you tell yourself that story. If you tell yourself that lie, then it will happen. If you go into the gym and think, oh, I'm going to lose strength, you're going to go into every single set thinking, my numbers are going to go down, it's fine, and expect that it's going to be normal. That is definitely not the case. Maybe towards the end, maybe when you're pressing exercises, you might lose a tiny little bit. I lost 2.5 kilos off my pressing in the entire cut, and I lost 14 kilos because I went in every single week. I'm matching these numbers or I'm beating them. You do whatever you can. You do whatever you can. Even if this means thinking and going crazy and going, right, gun to the head, do another rep. If you had a gun to your head, would you do another rep? Chances are you would. Go for that other rep. Because let's be real, in 14 weeks, you should not be losing that much muscle, because that is quite a short period of time to get your cut done. Maybe not, it won't happen every single time, but if you go in with that mindset, then the chances are 9 times out of 10, it will happen that way. And the next one, the one that a lot of people go into straight away, I don't know why. Honestly, I think this is the one you should think about last when it comes to all these things, is your cardio and your steps. So for me, I think you use these as a tool and you only ramp them up when you need to. What I prefer to do is eat in a few less calories than doing more kind of activity. So once I got to a certain point, usually for me, it's around 2,000 calories. It was around 2,000 calories in this cut, where I thought, I'm not dropping any lower in this deficit. I don't want to have any more less calories. I don't want to drop into the 1800s, 1700s. When that happens, you kind of cut it there, and you then use likes of your cardio and steps. So steps for me, I rarely went over 15k steps per day. And for cardio, did 2 runs per week because I was trying to do a 20-minute 5k, which I got to 21:30. So I got very, very close before I kind of lost the will to live after the cut. And it got really cold outside and I've got asthma, so it was a no-go for me. What I'd recommend is first knock up the steps until you can max out on your steps. Once you can't get any more steps in throughout the day, that's when you look into the likes of cardio. And what I did in terms of cardio is try not to have cardio on the exact same day as your weights training. But if you do have to do your cardio on the same day as your weight training, make sure you do it afterwards because you want to prioritize your energy with the gym sessions. You want to put your energy into that and then do a kind of a lower intensity kind of cardio, maybe some incline walking, maybe you sit on the bike for a little bit. If you're an absolute madman, you'll use the Stairmaster, but fair play to you if you're using that because I haven't used that shit in 2 years. One thing that a lot of people get confused, and I think it is kind of confusing because no one really explains it, is there is a difference between cardio and steps. So when I give my clients cardio and steps, I make this like 100% clear. Steps are steps, cardio is cardio, and now that sounds flipping self-explanatory.
I am the one, the way your son don't need.
If you count them as steps, you can maybe track them, I track them on a watch. When you're then doing your cardio, them steps do not count towards your step daily target. That's just your cardio one. So if you're doing incline walking, for example, I would take off the device that tracks your steps and do it separately. So the whole point is having the 2 separate ones. So having the steps and then having the cardio as well. And like I said, if it wasn't seeing the weight loss that I wanted to see, I would either increase my steps by 1 to 2k, or I would add in 40 minutes of cardio across the week. And I'd spread that out how I kind of wanted to across the week. And that's how I'd made sure things were progressing in the right direction. Every single week I was losing around 0.8 to 1 kilo. If I wasn't losing that, then that's when I'd make a change. I got towards the end where I was eating around 2,000 calories, 15k steps and 2 runs per week. And finally, this is the one that's gonna really undertone everything going forward. And that is gonna be your environment. So if you look at the things that are in your cupboard, the things that are in your fridge, the things you surround yourself with, if your environment is not in a good spot, then you're not in a good spot. Even the likes of myself, I'd like to think that I am a very disciplined kind of person and I'm able to kind of push through. But if it's constantly sitting out and you're constantly looking at it, your willpower is only going to break down and it's going to put yourself in a very, very difficult situation. One thing people do, and I have no idea why people do this, I can't lie, I used to do it as well, and it's just like, it's like torture. It is complete torture. Because when you've had your dinner, you've had all your meals for the day, you know there's no more food getting eaten today. Why do people sit in the kitchen? You're literally looking at the food, you're literally looking at it and going, you're tempting yourself. You're tempting yourself to be in it and you're really, really close to it. If you have a food that you know, if you go near it, I've got them all the time and I make sure you get them out of the house, remove the environment, you make it 10 times harder. Even if you can't get them out of the house, make it harder, make it unattractive to have. Move it higher, out of sight, out of mind. Maybe have a drawer, put a lock on it, so then you have to actually unlock it to get into it. Sounds so simple, and it sounds like, oh, how would that work? If you tried it, and then you went into it, and you can open it, and you couldn't get it, it's an extra little barrier to stop you from doing it. Because if it's not in the house, and you make it harder to do, then you will actually forget that it's actually there. Even though I'm looking at that code right now, 9 times out of 10, I forget that's completely there. Why? Because if I'm in the kitchen and I'm eating my food, I'm focusing on that. But then I don't just sit in the kitchen like this, what I do now, as part of when I'm filming a video. I would have to go out and get it. I'd have to go out to the shop. And the thought of just going out to the shop and buying something, you'll rethink it and go, that's just stupid. Why the fuck would I do that? But if it's sat over there, it's very easy to just grab and take and go on with your day about it and not even think about it. The next thing is when your environment, when you go into the shop, look at your basket, look at your trolley when you go into the shop. Is that gonna serve you? Look at it and go, would someone that is in shape, would they be buying what's in here? So a lot of people, they look into kind of the healthy eating and then they go, oh, I can't afford to do that, I can't afford to do that. The amount of times that I've been in Tesco, I've looked at people and they've got a trolley about this high and it's full of shit. And I'm thinking, well, that's not an unhealthy option. That's not and they're spending 150, 200 quid on a shop and they're built like a bag of milk. And I go, right, that's not a healthy, unhealthy money issue because you've spent a load of money. You're still spending a load of money, but you're not picking the quality food. I want you to look at your basket. I want you to look every single time you're carrying the shopping out. Would you be proud of the person that has come out with what you've got? Is there a load of biscuits in there? Is there a load of sweets in there? you're tempting yourself and it's not where you want to be. You're setting your environment up to fail. Now, I'm not saying completely cut them out. 14 weeks, you can. Like, let's be real, you can cut them out for 14 weeks, add them in like slowly. Like, I'm not saying I'm never gonna eat a processed food, I'm never gonna eat like unhealthy ever again. When I've got a job to do, I make sure it gets done. I walked out of the shop this morning with chicken, with salmon, with smoked salmon, with dark chocolate, frozen berries, with eggs, and I felt proud walking out there, and I felt proud carrying the basket around as well. You need to be doing the exact same thing, because if you tailor your environment around that, then it's gonna make your life 10 times easier. I promise you. It makes it easier to plan and prep things as well. Go in with a list, boom, 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 and then you can plan and prep and bulk buy certain foods, especially like the chicken, like your meats as well. When you bulk buy them, you're not throwing them away because they're going off, because you're eating them in your meals as well, and you can plan and prep your meals as well if you are someone that's busy. One thing that a lot of people just seem to kind of overlook, they say to me all the time, I'm busy, I've got this on and this and this on. If you don't plan when you're gonna cook your foods, when you're gonna get your foods, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. Look at this, for example. My client, James, he has a very, very busy job. He trains all of the time. He's got 3 kids on top of that as well. Some of you guys complain about having to work and do all that stuff. He's got 3 kids on top of that. He started off and he was training and he was doing all these things, about 100 kilo in this picture here. Flash forward 4 months, 5 months, this is what it looks like right now. Probably even busier than he was when he first started with that one. One thing that he started doing was planning and prepping his meals and making sure he knew exactly roughly when he was gonna eat and roughly what he was gonna be eating every single day. And he was able to stick to that. That's the most important thing. Being able to stick to it and being consistent with it. If you're consistent with any plan, it is going to work. And it's not about having the perfect plan. It's not about having the perfect diet. It's about having a consistent diet that you can stick to and you can sustain for that 14 weeks. But the whole thing should not be a complete slog and absolutely shit. It's got to fit your lifestyle. It's got to be sustainable at the same time. And if you're someone that's looked at that transformation there from James and gone, holy shit, that reminds me a lot of me. He's doing a lot of training. He thought he looked pretty good, but he just knew something kind of needs to change. And you want to look like him. He's got the abs. He's got the family. He's got the wife. He's got the good job. That is what everyone wants. That's what everyone's dream is. Then drop me a message. I'm more than happy to run you through exactly how we did it, and I'll actually send you a video on exactly what we did to get them from this to this, and I can talk you through it in a lot more detail. They are the 4 simple steps. If you do them 4 steps, step by step by step, and you nail them on the head for 14 weeks, I guarantee you will get a result. I guarantee you will get a result. If you don't, I'll give you a $5. Everyone that's watching this video and that doesn't happen and you nail everything to the T, I'll send you a $5. That's how confident I am in the video. If you could do one massive thing for me, that one of the last videos last week is doing very, very well. It's close to like 2K views, which is the highest I've ever had. And yes, that's why I'm doing more videos just like this, because I know that that's what the people want to see. So please, if you could, drop a comment, subscribe, like the video, push this video even further. That would be unbelievable. I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.